Good morning, guys. Today we are doing a little bit of a houseplant update video. And I'll give you a few little sneak peeks of the inside of my new home. No one on YouTube has seen it yet, so let's take a peek. One thing I will note that you guys don't know yet, but this is a little house. My last house was over 2,000 square feet. And my new home is just over 1,000 square feet. So absolutely half the size or smaller, but I love every piece of it. And in moving to a little house, I had to downsize hugely. I literally got rid of about 90% of all of my belongings, from garden stuff to home stuff. And then I started fresh. I did get some new things. I got new decor. One thing I did not get is new houseplants. So everything you see here was in my last house, and actually there are less. I rehomed several houseplants to coworkers who are taking very good care of my old houseplants. And let's take a peek at how this collection is doing right here in my new home. So let's take a look at what is right beside me, right behind me. This is a corn plant. I've shown it in many of my houseplant videos, and it is doing super well here. I have it growing right beside this. Oh, I'm going to lift the camera up and show you. Here's another view of my corn plant. It is growing right beside this little beach scene. And what's really cool, I don't have a video of it. On a sunny day, usually early afternoon, when you see this leaf at the top, that is actually creating a shadow into the painting, and it looks so cool. Like, it's adding another dynamic into the art piece, which I think is so fun. I cannot wait to see, as that corn plant grows even taller, how the image is going to change in the painting. I just think it is so neat. I've never had a painting and a plant that kind of coincide together, how the plant actually changes the image of the painting. So I cannot wait to see the evolution of this. If you guys have seen old videos, I love shadows and I love shadow art. So I'm super fascinated to see how this is going to play out. Now, coming just into the corner from the corn plant, this is my collection of snake plants, the tall versions. Now, you might remember, if you've seen some of my old houseplants, how I downsized a bunch of my snake plants into, I assimilated them into one pot. So this pot here actually has, I'm going to say, 4 different snake plants in it. That was great for moving because I didn't want to move as many pots. I had a lot of pots to move. They're doing super well in this spot. Next, we're going to check out this little side table. Note my ocean decor. You will see little bits and pieces of that throughout this video. So let's start at the back. We've got 3 plants on the table. So here is one of the snake plants that is growing, or was on my little side table. It is doing super well here. I just love these colors. This variegation is so pretty, and I could be imagining things, but I swear that the color, like the yellow variegation, is becoming more vibrant. Could totally be imagining it, but I really think it is. I don't know if it's because the location of where this plant now lives is right in front. I'm going to just show you. This whole room is like there's a wall of windows and doors. I have a sliding door to my deck here. And basically this is open concept house. So living room, dining room, and kitchen are all open concept. I'll just swing it around a little bit so you can see that, which I love. Super high ceilings here too. But I am kind of wondering if the plants are changing colors given more light, because in my old house, this plant was more in a definite shade, full shade to part shade location, and now it is more like part shade to full sun. So I do wonder if that is making the colors more vibrant. So we'll put that back and let's take a look at another plant. At the back here, these are my Boston ferns. These came from the same plant. This was the mother plant, and this was a division that I did, I want to say it was 2 years ago now. It's been a while. This one is doing, they're both doing really well here actually. It's so interesting because I moved to my parents' house for about a month or more, maybe a month and a half before I could move here because of possession dates and all that. And they started to thrive over there in a much more humid environment. I took my plants with me. And the interesting thing is they continued to thrive here much more than my last house. My last house was a dry air. Here it's kind of in between dry and moist. And this guy does need a repotting and division. If you look down below, there are actually roots and plants coming out of the base. Here, you can tell I have some work to do. I need to repot this plant, but I'm gonna wait probably closer to spring to do that. And I just made a mess of leaves. I'm gonna have a lot of vacuuming to do later. Just give you a little peek at one of my little decor pieces. These are little coasters and they have little, I don't know if these are anchors or ropes, but they're sea related anyways. So I thought that's kind of cool. There's one here and then there's another one with a different design here. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, but somehow ocean related. Next, we're going to check out my cactus collection. On this little side table, this is opposite over on this side of the house. We've got more plants over here. And these are the remaining cactuses. I think something happened to one. I want to say it either died or I rehomed one, I think, if I remember correctly, when I moved. But these are the ones that are left. So taking a look first at my most favorite cactus here, show you my little fish. This is a coral cactus, so appropriate for my new ocean beach themed decor here inside and outside the house. This is a grafted coral cactus, so I actually don't know what this portion is down below. It does have thorns, but it is smooth to touch in the middle. And then up here is the coral portion of the grafted cactus. It is doing so well. I've had this for several years. So happy here, putting on so much growth. And I think it's just so appropriate to have my little fish sculpture in the middle there. And then at the back, that is actually a cactus I do not know the name of, but it is absolutely thriving here. And I have to say, the more it grows, the longer the thorns are getting, which is a little concerning actually, but it is pretty cool. And then coming this way, these are actually what I want to call my most famous cactuses on YouTube. I've made several videos about this. This is the cactus that survived decapitation and still has the scar. If you've been around for a while, you may have seen those videos. I've told this story many times. When I first brought it home in the car, this had an accident and it was basically mauled down to this size. And then I asked on Facebook, what do I do? My cactus is falling apart. And people told me to root it. So I did, and that's how this one came to be. And now I have two beautiful cactuses. And they're actually quite large now. I'm gonna be repotting these in the spring. But holy doodle, I always wanted a large cactus when I started my houseplant journey. For a cactus this size, like over here, I would have paid between 100 and 200 Canadian dollars. I'd gone on a mission looking for cactuses and the large ones were absolutely crazy expensive. I didn't want to spend that on a houseplant. And now, years later, I have a large cactus myself, which is so fun. So if you nurture your plants, they will grow up to be good sized, strong individuals. Next, we're venturing over in this direction. You can see a couple of plants here. My little big fish sculpture. This, I believe, is called a cylindrical snake plant, and this is one of the baby plants from one you'll see in the bathroom, which is actually the mother plant, which I've also divided multiple times. I've rehomed those baby plants to coworkers over the years, so they're still thriving in other locations. But let's look at my rubber tree. This is my burgundy rubber tree, and it is so happy here, just loving its life in this living room. However, my variegated rubber tree is not loving its life. I'm not sure if it started to deteriorate in my parents' house or if it was immediately when it came here, but my beloved rubber tree, the really pretty variegated one, is having a struggle. Check it out. What is left is looking pretty fragile, but it does have new growth on it. If I can focus the camera, that looks like new growth to me. And at the top, I do think this is new growth too, so there is hope. This is one that's kind of on life support right now, so we're gonna see if it pulls through. And yes, the little creature from my coworker is still living in this rubber tree. Next, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of not a houseplant, but something that will probably be used in a fairy garden. But there might be a DIY coming first. I don't know if I'm going to film it or not. Maybe, maybe not. Straight ahead of you is a wood-burning fireplace, which I have yet to use. I am planning to use it. I'm getting ready. Believe it or not, this is a long process. But in the process of getting ready to try my wood fireplace for the first time. But on top of the fireplace, I do have a plant and some figurines. Now check this out. To go with my ocean decor, we have a merman. He is so cool. I thrifted him recently from a thrift store, and I think he's just the perfect piece for a mermaid themed fairy garden outside in my garden. But I'm thinking I might want to paint him. I can't decide. What do you guys think? Should I leave him in pure white form or should I paint him? Let me know in the comments. I had this idea. If you remember my last fairy garden, I did a lot of experimenting with glow-in-the-dark paint when I was painting a variety of my figurines. So I did have an idea that I might potentially paint either all of him in glow-in-the-dark or potentially his tail from like the waist down in my glow-in-the-dark paints. And then probably the rest would just be plain acrylics, although I could do glow-in-the-dark for his whole body in different colors. Let me know what you think. Should I make him glow-in-the-dark? Or should I leave him in pure white form or just use acrylics on him? Let me know what you think. I think if I put him outside, he'll last longer if I paint him. But let me know. What are your thoughts on painting? I'm going to call him King Titan. He reminds me of the Little Mermaid's dad in that movie. So cute. I found this oyster sculpture at a local thrift store. I don't know if somebody made this. I think they did, but these are definitely real oyster shells or real barnacles. A really cool sculpture, actually. So when I create the garden outside, these pieces are definitely going together in the garden. And hiding behind Mr. Merman, we have, or King Titan, a Thanksgiving or Christmas cactus. It did bloom for about less than a day, and then the flower fell off in this house. But it's doing okay. I almost, when I first moved, it wasn't doing okay. I almost got rid of it, and it's thriving. So yeah, it's kind of an on and off plant, but it still survives for now. Next, we're going to journey down my little hallway and take a look at one of my biggest plants. Stop and admire the artwork along the way. This is literally one of my favorite pieces in the house. This is a seahorse that I thrifted, and I think it is just so cute and adorable. Then we've got a little Imagine sign, and here is my other houseplant. You you can see, this Justina is very large. I've shown it in many houseplant videos. This was one of my very first houseplants on my houseplant journey, and it was free. I got it on Facebook Marketplace from an elderly woman who is so kind and sweet, and her advice was to repot it as soon as I got it, so I did. I'm gonna say I've had it for, let's say at least 7 years, maybe longer now. And it is doing marvelous. It has moved 3 times in its life since I have had it. And here it is. It is pretty much my size. It would be taller, but I've trimmed it. However, I think in this house, because my ceilings are so high, I'm actually gonna let it grow full, like as tall as it wants. It would have in my old house already exceeded the ceiling, but I had very different ceiling heights in different parts of that house. This house is quite consistent. I think the whole house is, I'm gonna say there are 10, maybe 12-foot ceilings here, so quite a bit taller than my last house, and I'm gonna let the plants grow to the ceiling if they want. Let's spread their leaves and fly to the sky. Next, we are in my master bathroom, and you see there is a plant. You see we have a plant up here. This is my master bathroom. Excuse the fan noise. This house is actually quite old, and it's been renovated many times over the years, but whoever did the electrical work in this house connected the light to the fan, which has good and bad, is good and bad in different ways, but I'm not changing that, so the noise is going to be there. Anyways, here is my mother cylindrical snake plant right here. This plant is growing very wide, and I have to wonder if it's actually growing even wider here. In my last house, it was living in the windowsill, but the thing with this house, I'm going to show you one of my windows, and they're pretty consistent throughout the house. These windows have almost no windowsill, which is kind of weird. Like, they have the most narrow windowsill, whereas my last house had super wide windows, so I can't really put plants in any of my windows here. But it seems very happy in this bathroom, so I don't think it matters that it's not directly in the window here. It's doing fine, and no complaints from this plant. This is my bathroom window where we are right now, and I'll just do a little peek under the blinds. If you can tell, oh my goodness, this is how narrow my windowsill is. So it's like, oh, how do I describe it? I'm gonna say it's like 2.5 to 3 inches, maybe smaller, very narrow, and all of the windows in this house are that narrow. So there most definitely will not be more plants going in there won't be plants going in windows here. As we exit the bathroom, I realized I didn't show you all of the details of this plant. We have green and red foliage mixed with yellow and green. It basically has 2 different colors of variation on it, which I think is so cool, and it's getting new growth right from the bottom. Thank you so much for joining me on my little houseplant / mini home tour. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. We'll be back in the garden soon. We're going through a cold spell right now on Vancouver Island. Temperatures are dropping. There is potential snow in the forecast, for better or for worse. I do love snow at the right time, so we'll see how it goes. If it does snow, I will definitely give you guys a snowy garden tour, but I've actually been avoiding the outdoors because this last bit of my illness is just hanging on, and there are days when it gets worse, not better. So I'm trying so hard to fight it off before I really get back into the videos. So I don't want to spend too much time in the cold because sometimes it gets worse out there. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon in another video. Bye-bye.